Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases.
For more, we go to our chief Sunny Hostin correspondent for a reaction.
Sunny Hostin thought her day couldn't get any worse, until Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus stormed in with flamethrowers of sarcasm and turned her courtroom drama into a full-blown comedy roast. That $450 million scandal involving her husband? Just the opening act. What followed was unfiltered humiliation, roasted to perfection. Tyrus let it rip. Gutfeld hit every punchline. And Sunny? Her silence spoke volumes, Oscar-worthy even. But what jaw-dropping twist lit the fire? Trust me, you won't believe how deep this courtroom chaos goes. Hit that subscribe button because this drama is just heating up.
About 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
And it is funny. She's so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Sunny Hostin has spent years on The View, casting herself as the Supreme Court of daytime TV, gavel in one hand, moral high ground in the other. She doesn't just speak her mind, she hands down judgments. One wrong opinion and you're out of the brunch circle. But this week, the self-appointed guardian of legal ethics found herself in the hot seat. A $450 million legal disaster has taken center stage, featuring none other than her husband.
And that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people. And this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racist on TV who could just go all day and say anything about white people. And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day, that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Yeah, Emily.
Roll the irony. Pass the popcorn. And bring on Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus, firing up their sarcasm like they're headlining a roast on Mount Olympus. For ages, Sunny has carved out a niche by being reliably outraged, shocked, appalled, indignant, anything. To secure the moral high ground on a talk show that's more verbal wrestling match than real discussion. But now, with her husband reportedly caught up in a financial mess that makes FTX look like a school fundraiser, suddenly it's all about privacy, fairness, and the importance of due process. How convenient.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe.
When someone else is under fire, it's all righteous fury and thinly veiled contempt. But when it's her own husband, Crickets, the loudest legal voice on The View, has suddenly discovered the beauty of silence. Bravo. Now, enter stage right. Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus, two men with enough sarcasm between them to power a small country. And they're not about to miss the chance to sink their teeth into this hypocrisy sandwich.
Makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by The View's gravitational pull.
The timing couldn't be more convenient. Gutfeld, known for skewering media double standards, with the wit of a comic and the accuracy of a marksman, all but cracked open champagne on air. And Tyrus? He may as well have shown up with Moors to toast over the blaze. That used to be Sunny's credibility. Let's dive into this $450 million scandal, shall we? If you believe the swirling headlines and wildly animated social feeds, Sunny's husband has allegedly landed in the middle of a legal catastrophe so vast, it makes Enron look like a typo. The accusations include everything from financial bungling to straight-up fraud. But who's keeping track? Certainly not Sunny, who now has less to say about justice than a jammed Alexa. It's like someone yanked out her inner DA and swapped in a busy signal. The scandal isn't just huge, though it's dripping with irony. This is someone who carved out a career pouncing on the legal troubles of others like a vulture, spotting roadkill. When a Republican is sued, Sunny's already rehearsing her closing argument. But when her own life catches fire, suddenly it's too soon to comment. That's not irony, it's almost theatrical. Gutfeld didn't pause for breath. He jumped into a segment that played more like a comedy roast than a news report.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now, The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter. So instead,
If hypocrisy were an Olympic event, Sunny would be standing on the podium clutching gold. She unraveled the double standard with the excitement of a kid, tearing into Christmas morning. And somewhere behind the scenes, you could practically hear Tyrus sharpening his trademark, wit like a blade ready for battle, and swing it he did. Never one to bite his tongue, Tyrus dropped truth bombs with the ease of someone who's overdosed on talk, shows, and decided enough was enough. He didn't just highlight the scandal, he tore into the arrogance, the sanctimony, and the utter meltdown of credibility that came with it. When the crowned queen of condescension stumbles into a scandal this big, you better believe Tyrus is right there with a velvet pillow, ready to scoop up that fallen crown. And oh, let's not forget the rest of the View crew. The panel, typically overflowing with outrage, suddenly turned into a wall of whispers. Joy Behar, usually loud enough to disrupt satellite signals, looked like she'd just seen the ghost of integrity. Whoopi Goldberg, the high priestess of primetime righteousness, couldn't even muster a full sentence, just a shrug and silence. Apparently, when Sunny's name appears in legal documents, the outrage-o-meter short circuits. Funny how the same folks who once launched a multi-segment meltdown over a conservative mispronouncing a word now seem to have lost their voices. If this double standard doesn't have you raising an eyebrow, check your pulse. And if you're as fed up with selective outrage as we are, do us a favor, hit that like button, drop your take in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. We're just getting started.